All right, what's going on? Welcome to Trading Masterclass. My name is Irek Piekarski, and I'm going to be here with you for the next 30 lessons or so. And we're going to keep this a little bit casual and short to the point, right? And we're going to elaborate on a lot of the concepts month to month and week to week on our live events, right? So, this structure of Trading Masterclass is going to be mainly the system, right? With some obviously background information, but we're going to keep it pretty concise 10 to 20-minute lessons. All right. And then we'll elaborate much more in the actual live trading environment when we're making a watch list, when we're trading, um, and so on. Right. So, just kind of to set the framework a little bit. Now, Trading Masterclass, we're going to be I'm gonna be screen sharing a little bit. I'm gonna have notes on the screen here as well. So you can pretty much structure your own personal notes based on the key points and topics, such as for today's lesson, it's the mindset, the system, the goals. I would suggest that you, you know, get a piece of paper, a notepad, a book, notebook, or if you prefer to type, obviously open up a note page or something where you can take notes. And I would recommend to just kind of for each lesson, um, just say like start here and then write down the 3 points, and we're gonna do points under the points. All right. So that's kind of how it's gonna work. I'm gonna talk about in every single lesson about a few major concepts, and then it would be best for you to kind of take notes under every single one of those concepts. Okay. So that by the end of this program, you will have like a very good trading plan. You'll actually have like a solid trading plan with all the major keys and insights and so on. So this would be the most productive way to do this. Is that every single time you listen to a lesson, take down the points and then write some notes under every single point. All right. Now, I would also kind of recommend that trading masterclass to kind of there's trading in general tends to be pretty complex, right? And in trading masterclass, I do my best job to make this as simple as possible, right? But you will still have to watch this a few times. Okay, so watch it once first, right? And you're gonna have a very good understanding. Okay, and then the second and the third time you're watching is more for the purpose of mastery, right? And to really kind of pick up more on the individual nuances of every single lesson and of the system itself, right? So watch it once, kind of just like binge it or something, to get a really good understanding of the program, but then come back to every single lesson and really kind of like focus on mastery and really kind of understanding it, right? Because this stuff tends to be pretty complex, but we can make it pretty simple, and that's just kind of like how you should flow with the program. Now let's just keep this on the screen here. Now, start with mindset. People always say that, anything, or specifically in trading, it's 80% mindset, 20% technicals. I disagree. I disagree. It is 100% mindset and 100% technicals. You can't separate it like that, 80-20. It doesn't work like that. Because sure, if your mindset is 80% and it's good or whatever, but your technicals are shitty, you're not going to make any money here. Right? It just doesn't work like that. Your mindset needs to be solid and your technicals need to be fucking solid. Right? Understand that. And same thing with your technicals. If your technicals are solid, like you know what the fuck you're doing, your system is, well structured and you understand it, without mindset, you're gonna just fuck it up. Sorry, I'm gonna swear a little bit throughout this program. Hope that's cool. But yeah, so just know that from a mindset perspective, it is like you gotta be 100% in, right? Um 100%. And we're going to talk much more about it throughout the whole program. Mindset is integrated because I don't think mindset is like 80/20, that there should just be like few lessons on mindset. I think mindset is 100%, technicals is 100%. It's all together, right? So you're going to see mindset and some structure and technicals almost within every single lesson because it's important. Now, the mindset to succeed, I really just quickly want to chat about that, you know, because trading, you got to see it as, you got to see it as a career. I don't think this is a hobby. And if it's a hobby for you, it's one that will cost you a lot of money. So you got to treat it a little bit more seriously, right? A lot of people just kind of have some fun with this or whatever, and they don't really have a good experience because they lose money, right? This is actually like you're putting money on the line, right? So you got to take it seriously, right? And when I say take it seriously, it's like treat it as a career, treat it as your business, right? And from a mindset perspective, you have to be willing to do the work that only the 1% of people are willing to do, and that is like really a mastery of self and mastery of the system itself too, right? It's both. You got to do both. You got to master the self, your mindset, change your belief systems. Most likely you're going to have to upgrade your belief systems. This is something that I talk about a lot, and you'll see me talk about it a lot. It's like if you want to go to the next level, because most people come from, I don't not most people, some people come from low income families, other people come from middle class families, other people come from high income families, and everything in between. Okay, not most people, everybody's different, right? But depending on where you are, you will have to level up your mindset, or really your belief system, or really your self-worth, to be honest, right? You got to level up your self-worth, because most people's self-worth that are in low income brackets, their self-worth is 40 grand a year. They don't think they're worth more than 40 grand a year. You're gonna have to level that up, And again, people in middle class, I came from a middle class family, and I had kind of like a middle class blue collar job. I was a customs and immigration officer until I quit in March 2014. And since then, I've been a full-time trader. But March 2014 and prior, I was a customs and immigration officer here in Canada. So a government job, very blue collar, serve the people kind of situation, right? But my worth was 80 grand, you know? And then if I hustle and put in more time, more overtime, okay, maybe I can push it to 100, a little bit more, but like I'll have no time freedom, zero. But worth will be 100K, okay? Still not much. Still not much, because most people who are coming here and watching this lesson, I guarantee you don't just want to make 100K. You probably want to make 1 million. You probably want to make 1 million a year. You probably want to make 1 million a month. And that is possible. That's possible in many industries. 1 million a year, many industries, trading, business, anything really, But it's often not possible in a 9 to 5 unless you're a high-end executive. All right. Same thing with $1 million a month. That is possible in many industries. It's possible in trading. It's possible in most businesses, right? Whether big, small, online, or physical. And it's possible in a 9 to 5, 1 million a month. But you got to understand, you got to be the GOAT and probably a CEO of a company. Right? Not your company, but a CEO of a company. You're going to have to fucking climb the fucking ladder. All right? Either way, you're going to have to fucking climb the ladder. And it's the same in trading. You're going to have to climb the ladder. But what does that metaphor actually mean? Climbing the fucking ladder. Right? Let's flip it a little bit. Because it's not about like, hey, I got to level up like from a 9 to 5 perspective. I got to level up from this entry level position. Next year, get a little bit of an upgrade. Next year, get a little bit of an upgrade, and a little bit of an upgrade, and a little bit of an upgrade, then plateau for 10 years, then maybe gain enough experience to rise up to management level, and then stay there for 10 years. And then maybe in my final 5 years before retirement, I can be the fucking CEO of that company or some high level executive. That's the ladder, the 9 to 5 ladder. Now it can look a little bit different. You can speed it up and slow it down. Most people don't make it to the top. That's the thing. Most people don't make it to the top. Only some do. Only some do. And that's in a 9 to 5, right? That's in the traditional system. But it's like that everywhere. It's like that everywhere. And why is that? And to me, in my opinion, I studied mindset. Like, I studied more mindset and psychology and drive and flow and all that stuff, peak performance in general, as much as I have studied trading, if not more. It's just something that you do. It's something you have to do. So when I say climbing that ladder, it's more of as a metaphor, leveling up yourself, right? It's going from I'm worth 50K to I'm worth 100K to I'm worth 200K to I'm worth a million to I'm worth a million a month to I'm worth 10 million and more, right? Now, what is that? That is an internal level up. How the fuck do you do that? Well, you got to change your self-worth, the image of yourself, how you look at yourself, how you view yourself, right? And that's going to be a never-ending fucking journey. Understand that. It's going to be a never-ending journey. But if you don't do it, right? If you don't do it, you're not going to succeed in anything that you do. Doesn't matter if it's trading or your fucking 9 to 5 or business, right? You got to fucking level up. You got to break those glass ceilings and level up your self-worth. And most people think, hey, you know what? Yes, I'm worth of $1 million. I can make $1 million a month and so on. But no, man, your habits, your behavior, the things that you do, the things that you say, right? No, it does not represent. You will not. And I guarantee you, unless you change the way you speak, you change the way you look at yourself, you change the way you feel inside, and you change your beliefs, right? Once you do that, then yeah. But understand that every single time you do a level up, you pretty much become a new self. You got to kind of see it like that. You gamify this a little bit. We're going to talk about systems a lot, and we're going to talk about how this is a game and you're the avatar. You're the player. Level the fuck up. So that's mindset. Okay? That's mindset. And just understand that, again, in any industry, there's people who make it to the top and there's people who kind of like stay at the bottom. Trading's the same, man. There's going to be people who make it to the top and there's going to be people who kind of just like stay somewhere in the middle in their comfort zone. Make a little bit of money and then, but stay within your fucking lane because this is my self-worth. So you stay within that. Unless you level up your self-worth, then you'll make more money. Doesn't matter which industry, which profession you pursue, including trading. People who have a low self-worth in trading will do a shit ton of self-sabotage. They're like, I want more money. I want more money. So then the opportunities show up and they totally fuck them up. That's what happens when your self-worth is low. Right? Because when your self-worth is high, you're thinking at a mastery level, you're thinking as a goat. You gotta feel like you're a greatest of all time, a fucking goat. And when you think like that, when you act like that, you have opportunities everywhere. You will execute them to perfection, flawlessly, with focus purely on your vision and not how shitty you are. So that's what I mean. Like, mindset is major key for sure. And it is fucking 100% in. It's not 80, it's 100% in. Because if you don't increase your self-worth through, learning, meditation and reflection, and implementing and actually gaining experience and learning from your experience, right? That's how you level up. You do that, you'll be good, right? But self-worth, just take a note on the mindset of self-worth. And most people are where they are because of their self-worth. They're making the money that they're making, they're living the places where they live in, they're driving the cars that they're driving because of their self-worth. You raise your self-worth, you make yourself more valuable to yourself, just like make yourself more valuable, you will achieve great things. That's it for mindset. Now the system is how mainly I'm going to help you here. The system is simple, and I like to say it's a full system. It's a complete system. So let me quickly just kind of show you the lesson plan here and explain that real quick. All right. So when we got the lesson plan, we're looking at 30 lessons or so. Okay. 30 lessons. Let me put this on one page. Yeah. So we're looking at 30 lessons. And we're at lesson 1. Start here. Then we're going to move to lesson 2, dream lifestyle. Now, this is important, right? Dream lifestyle is going to be all about building that vision, building that dream. Then after that, we're going to move on to hyper systemization, which will explain the system in a little bit more detail, right? Then I'm going to teach you how to get rich slow, which is the traditional way, the 9-to-5 way, the American dream way. You can get rich, and it's pretty much a guaranteed way to get rich, that anybody can get rich. They just don't do the simple stuff, right? Under the system, I want you to take one note. Do the basics right, or don't fuck up the basics. Either one, whichever line you prefer. It's the same shit. Do the basics right, or don't fuck up the basics. And we're going to be talking a lot about that, So getting rich slow, there's some basics here that you don't have to fuck up. And if you don't fuck them up, you'll get rich. Okay. Then I'm going to show you how to speed this up through trading. These first few lessons, they're more kind of like preparatory. They're more of a preparation. And they're more about mental frameworks, right? So really kind of like this section is more about mental frameworks, right? So dream lifestyle, hyper systemization, getting rich slow, getting rich faster, pattern recognition, monk level discipline. This is a fucking key right there. And infinite scaling is another major key. This is all major keys. This is all important. Spend some time on this. Make sure this is clear as fuck, and make sure you actually implement this stuff. There's going to be action items under every single lesson. Okay. Then lesson 9 is going to be the initial setup. Get your broker set up, get your charts set up, all that kind of stuff. I wanted to start with some more exciting stuff before we talk about the boring, which there's only one kind of boring lesson, and this forces you to do some beep, set some stuff up. Okay, that's this lesson. But then we're diving right into the trading system, right? So lesson 10 and to pretty much 21 is the full trading system. Okay, now all of this goes in order. So kind of like when I said at the start of this lesson that, hey, you will probably have to watch this once real quick, or just watch it once and then come back to it and kind of just spend some time on it. The reason why I said that is because this is in order. This is a whole system in order, how the trade from how it's actually all executed, right? So you have a goal, you have a trading style, you have a market that you trade. So you have a goal. The goal is like, I need to achieve this. I need to hit this. And this goal is going to be specific, right? We're going to have a weekly goal, a monthly goal, a quarterly goal, and an annual goal, right? It's going to be specific, right? And then you're going to pick your trading style so that a specific trading style, because we have a few trading styles, swing trading, day trading, and a few variations of them. You're going to pick a trading style that's going to be best suited for you and one that's going to achieve that goal. And then you're going to pick a market, stocks, crypto, commodities, equities, FX, right? You're going to pick a market. And then you're going to build a peak performance system based on this stuff. A peak performance system, a routine, a daily routine, habits, right? That as you execute them, you will be able to so that you're able to execute your plan well, so that there's no bullshit excuses. When people don't have a peak performance system, it's like, When I asked them, why didn't you take this trade? I was sleeping. Why didn't you take this trade? I was showering. Why didn't you take this trade? I went to dinner with my girlfriend. Why didn't you exit this for profit? Why is this trade a loss and not a fucking win? I was sleeping. Why is this a trade a loss and not a win? I was showering. You get the idea. Excuses. When you have a peak performance system, there should be none of that. It's like, no, I exited the trade. I made money. There shouldn't be at the end of a trade where you look at a trade and be like, this trade should have been a win, but it was a loss. We don't do that. Okay? When you run a proper system, we don't do that. And that is not 1% mindset. That is not a very abundant mindset. That is fucking self-sabotage. You don't want to win. And people do that all the time. You'd be surprised. Be surprised. Peak performance system is key. Once we do that, then we're going into idea generation, analysis, execution, management, journaling, performance review. We do a reset, and then we repeat the system all again. Right? Then we have the strategy lessons, which they pretty much combine the entire system into them. So ABO, IBO, CBO, ACB, and WTF, the Wave 2-4. And then you're going to build a trading plan. I'm going to show you a base trading plan. I'm going to show you how to customize that trading plan so that is best suited for you. And then I'm going to show you how to build a case study. You're going to build a case study so that you have a lot of examples and you feel good with your trading plan. And then final kind of psychology related lesson, which world. So that's the lesson plan. It's actually really good. And it's a complete system. There's nothing, everything here will allow you to go to the next level and make a lot of money. So what are the goals? Because kind of outlined the basis of the program. Now, the goals. The goals are simple. I have 3 goals for you. 3 goals. And they are make 100K profit, make $1 million profit, and make $10 million profit. I'm going to show you how to do that. Make 100K. Why 100K? Well, some of you might already have 100K. That's great. With 100K, most people are able to do this full time. Right? So if you want to trade full time, you probably, depending on where you live in the world and how much income you require and what your monthly expenses are, obviously it's different from everybody, but a lot of times kind of what I've seen, I've worked with a lot of traders already in the past. What I have seen is that roughly that 100K barrier allows you to really kind of like focus full attention on this and go full time. Right? And there's a few different ways I'll show you how to like get that 100K. Obviously trade well, but you can get creative. Okay. So goal 1 is like 100K because that allows a lot of people to really kind of put all their attention on this and quit their 9 to 5 and focus on full-time trading, right? Around that, it might be 200, it might be 50, but 100K as goal 1. You hit 100K trading profit, man, you're good. And then you're in line for the next big goal, which is 1 million profit, $1 million trading account. Okay. If you have $1 million already, fucking great. You're way ahead. It means you've been doing something good in the past. Right. But that's goal 2 is like $1 million trading account, $1 million profit. Why that? Well, because that's like your income is really like fuck you money type of income. You make really good money with $1 million. Your income is good. You can live a good life, a pretty decent life. And that means you're actually pretty good at this because you grew from like 100K to $1 million, right? It means like you're good at this. Like you're good. Keep going, And then the third goal is 10 million. Why 10 million? Well, it's just 10x. 100K to 1 million is 10x. 1 million to 10 million is 10x, right? But why 10 million? What's so special about 10 million? Why should you be excited about that? Well, obviously it's 10 million, right? But the true excitement, 10 million is the freedom. For most people, 10 million allows them to never work again. Right. So it's like when you get from 0 to 100K, all of a sudden you don't have to do a 9 to 5. You can focus on this full time. Right. Or at least give yourself a good shot. Then once you get yourself from 100K to a million, it's like, I'm a fucking trader. You know, you're a trader. Like, you should be living the trader lifestyle. Penthouse, the villa in Costa Rica, you know, traveling the world. And that was kind of like my lifestyle. But you should, $1 million allows you to kind of like live a good life, you know, a good lifestyle that you enjoy. But $10 million, it's like you can do that, and you really don't have to trade it if you don't want to. You're free. Why? Because 10 there's a number out there, and the number is that if you invest your money in the basic total stock market or S&P that yields an approximately 10% annual return. If you put $10 million in the S&P, which is like, or the total stock market, right? That yields a 10% average annual return approximately. If you put your 10 million in there, you can safely withdraw 4%, okay? 4% every single year, right? So your 10 million grows by 10%, it makes a million. 10 million makes a million. So now you're at 11 million at the end of the year. You can pull out 400K and leave the 600 to compound for next year. So every single year, your income, the 4% that you withdraw, is actually more and more and more and more. You will never go broke. That is kind of like, and this is like peer-reviewed case studies. You know, this is actually legit, based on historical data, obviously. But that's kind of what I mean, financial freedom, right? Because for 400K, pulling out, investing 10 million and being able to withdraw 400K, I mean, you're free. Your family's free. If something happens to you, or, you know, if you don't want to work or whatever, you know, like, you're free. You never have to worry about money. You never even have to work. You never even have to touch a thing if you don't want to. The thing is, like, people like to work. You realize that, like, when you make money and you're making money, it's like you actually like working. You know, I like this shit because it's kind of like a game, and it gives you fun coupons, you know, to spend as you like, right? But that's the goals: 100K to become a full-time trader, approximately 1 million to be a goat, not really a goat, but to live that trader lifestyle. You know, 10 million to hit financial freedom. And then if you're like, I fucking love this shit, I made 10 million, and you realize that big baller homes, depending where you live, they're like 20 million, 30 million, you know, those private jets, those yachts, you know, you like, if you're after that, you're going to be like, I need to go to 100 million. And then you're going to be like, I still need more. That yacht is like $200 million. I got to go for $1 billion. And that's where you take this for a whole career, decades, 10, 20, 30 years, maybe start a hedge fund, you know, and really kind of grow your wealth, maybe build a team of traders and so on, right? This really kind of opens up. So like the goals are 100K, 1 million, 10 million. But for a lot of people, but mainly a smaller percentage of people, you're going to go for much more than that. And that's fucking great. This program is for you, you know, because I'm all about that. I'm all about the fine details of peak performance and like having big goals and going for those big things, because those big things are fun. All right. That's it that I wanted to talk in this lesson a little bit longer than I wanted, but it's a good introduction, right? So I have a few action steps here, right? Which is dedicate 1 hour a day for the self and 1 hour a day for the charts. Okay. This will be a good foundation. You will obviously want to do probably more than this, but this will be a good foundation for to start. 1 hour a day for self. And what do I mean for self? Well, self is like learning. Watching this video, you know, listening to an audiobook, maybe once you finish this program, that might be listen to an audiobook. You know, it might be meditation. It might be sitting and reflecting, right? Just 1 hour a day. I do like an hour for every single one of those things. 1 hour to meditate in the morning, 1 hour to listen to an audiobook, 1 hour to work out and take care of my health, 1 hour to uh, reflect on the day, you know, and so on. But you want to start off with obviously 1 hour a day because people have 9 to 5s. I do this full time. So 1 hour a day for self and then 1 hour a day for the charts. This is actually when you're analyzing charts and finding opportunities and planning your trades and so on, right? So just to kind of start off, that will give you a good foundation. All right, that is it for lesson 1, and I hope you enjoy trading masterclass, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye bye.